This video assesses the rehabilitation process for a PCL tear weeks 4 to 12. The goals of this phase is to increase range of motion, full knee extension, and 70 to 90 degrees of knee flexion. Also to increase quad strength, increase hamstring flexibility, and to normalize gait. From weeks 4 to 6, the brace will be unlocked in a controlled environment, usually at home. From weeks 6 to 8, the brace will be unlocked for all activities. And at 8 weeks, the brace may be discontinued. This is depending on the patient and where they are at in the rehab process. Along with the brace, crutches should be used for up to 8 weeks. Crutches can be discontinued if there's full knee extension and knee flexion is 90 to 100 degrees. The patient can move up to one crutch or even no crutches when gait is normalized. Before we start rehabilitation exercises, it's important to heat the tissues that you're about to stress. First, we will use moist heat packs on the knee and hamstring, and then ultrasound on the same areas for deeper heating. When using ultrasound for the hamstring, it's important to use the correct parameters. With an intensity of 1.5 watts per centimeter squared, a frequency of 1 megahertz, and a time of 5 minutes. After heating, it's then important to stretch afterwards while the tissues are warm to increase the flexibility and reduce stiffness within the muscle. For example, we have the calf stretch on the slant board, and then we have the bilateral hamstring stretch on the table. Next, we have wall slides. Have the patient actively push the knee into extension on a towel against the wall and let gravity bring the foot down and repeat. With mini squats, you want to have your patient up against the wall with their back flat. Have their feet stick out in front of them and have them bend into knee flexion of up to 45 degrees. Once they do that, return to the normal position and repeat. To increase hip range of motion, use a 4-way hip with TheraBand exercise. What that means is the patient will go through all 4 ranges of motion within the hip using the TheraBand: flexion, extension, abduction, and adduction. And as you progress through the rehabilitation process, you can increase the resistance band that you use to make it harder for the patient to therefore increase strength as you go along. It's vital to the rehabilitation process to any knee injury to get full knee extension. To do that, one very helpful exercise is a short arc quad. Having something underneath the gastrocnemius and forcefully contracting your quad will allow your knee joint to get full knee extension. You may have seen in a previous video the use of straight leg races. They are very important to the rehabilitation process, especially with a knee injury. Now that we're progressing through the rehabilitation process, it's important to add weight and resistance to further increase muscle strength and increase range of motion in the hip. Ensure that the contralateral knee is the marking point for how high the leg should go, and be sure that the patient performs the action nice and slow. Quad and hamstring strength are very important to a knee injury. As knee flexion is not quite there yet, use a leg press and ensure that you go to about 60 degrees and then to terminal knee extension. You don't want to force too much knee flexion so early in the rehabilitation process. Seated calf raises are a great way of avoiding weight bearing to the leg, therefore putting less stress on the knee. Have the patient put their feet flat on the ground and push off on their toes so that their heels lift off the ground. Building up balance and proprioception lost during surgery is vital for an athlete returning to play. Standing on 2 feet, 1 foot, non-dominant leg on a foam surface with 2 feet, 1 foot, again non-dominant, and a tandem stance, you increase the muscle strength within the legs and also neuromuscular facilitation that allows for the joint to be recognized in space, therefore preventing further injury. And when the athlete does return to play, there is reduced risk for injury. A great way to increase knee extension is the use of TKEs, or terminal knee extensions. Using a TheraBand with the color of your choosing, you actively extend your knee against resistance and return to a flexed position. It's important to stay fit during the rehabilitation process. We do this by using a stationary bike. As we gain more flexion in the knee, using the stationary bike can become increasingly helpful, increasing range of motion, strength, and cardiac output. Now that we are progressing through the weeks, we'll take the leg press again, but instead of using 60 degrees, we can go to 90 degrees, therefore increasing more strength and range of motion. In addition to keeping up with cardiovascular health and limiting weight bearing, we can use the elliptical machine that reduces ground contact but also moves through the knee flexion and extension ranges of motion. Another way of keeping up with cardiovascular health and going through the knee ranges of motion, we can use a Stairmaster.